So Louis is pumping and blending honey today, and there's something in here I thought I'd talk about. This warming room holds 32 drums, or the equivalent of 32 drums. Sometimes we have a tote or two in here. This tote is empty. And what I wanted to talk about is old comb and honey. Here's two barrels sitting right side by side. You can see the wax and the junk on top of this drum. I don't have any problem with that. What I do have a problem with is this drum and that drum. Now I know this beekeeper that produced this stuff. He's a good guy. And actually the honey tastes decent. It's decent tasting honey. Would you dip that hive tool in there and show me what comes up? Okay, good look at that. That's wax too. Just like this is wax. Just like this is wax. Just like this is wax. I expect generally unfiltered honey from these guys I buy from. But what's going on and what I have a problem with is what's in this drum right here. This beekeeper, he's an old man. When I say old man, he's not much older than me, but he's been beekeeping a long time, probably 45, maybe 50 years, I don't know. He's a good guy, he's a good beekeeper. But how old he is and how long he's been keeping bees is part of the problem. He's got really, really ancient comb in his extracting supers. And a lot of that comb has been brood comb over the years too. Now, I actually extract some comb that's had brood reared in it, but I don't ever have that old black nasty stuff that really needs to go to the dumpster. And I'll talk to this guy about this issue, but I don't expect him to change because he's old and he's not going to want to cycle out all his old comb at this point. He's probably going to retire soon. So this, what do I want to say about this? This old black nasty brood comb that's being used as extracting comb is contaminating the honey. This actually changes the flavor of the honey. Louis notices it. I notice it. Am I lying? I mean, do you notice?
It does.
Definitely changes the flavor. There's this argument that this is a contentious question, and that is whether using old dark comb for extracting changes the flavor. And a lot of people argue it does not, but I'm here to say it absolutely does. You can see the wax kind of coated on the inside of that drum as the level went down. That's capping's wax. I have no problem with that. But this dark stuff here, I really don't like to see this. And I will be moving in the direction of not purchasing this type of honey in the future. And I know I'm going to get some arguments about this, I know. But I don't want that anymore. And it's a shame because it's good honey, good South Georgia honey, and it's just contaminated with this old wax. Plus he uses a Dakota Gunnis chain-on capper, which pulverizes the cappings, so that makes it even worse. Now the saving grace here is that we've had this honey a while. We got this back in the spring, and it sat in the warehouse, and of course all this wax and stuff settles to the top, and then eventually it crystallized and all that stuff stayed on the top. So when we put it in our warming room, it's still on the top. It was not disturbed. And Louis pulls the honey out of these drums with these pipes, and he sucks, right down to the bottom, and all that garbage, that crust of wax just stays on the bottom of the drum, and he washes that out. It just gets thrown away. So, I mean, it's not like it's getting sucked into the honey, but this old cappings that gets pulverized and it's really dark like this. This one looks worse than that. Let's see your hive tool over here. Yeah, that's dark. It's dark. That's not good. So I don't know. I don't know how to counsel people about that. I get it. You don't want to throw out all your old comb and replace it. But I think not only in the brood nest, but even in the extracting supers, there's no place for this old black nasty stuff that's 30 or 40 years old. I get it. When I was coming up in the early 80s, the guy I worked for had a bunch of it that was quite old, and he considered it an asset rather than a liability because it was really tough. You could throw it around on the truck, or you could turn the extractor up to high speed right away and it wouldn't blow out. So, from a production point of view, he considered it as valuable. But now that I know what I know about the quality of honey and what can affect it, I think that having old black brood comb in your extracting supers is really a liability. So that old comb can absorb a lot of chemicals too, so that's a consideration. Not just the wax itself, but the contaminants that are in the comb. We don't want that in our honey. I'm not looking for filtered honey. I do not require filtered honey when I purchase from guys. I just don't want it to be full of that old black stuff. This one, not so bad. I mean, it's brown. You can see there's a little older comb in here, but not horrible. This is what we love to see, this nice white. That's pretty good looking. Whoever's doing this drum has pretty good extracting comb. This drum too, that looks pretty good. Of course, a lot of that is kind of the foamy stuff, air bubbles and all of that floats to the top. And you can look at the lids of each drum here. You can see this stuff sticks to the lid in the drum when it gets moved. This is the lid off that one that was really dark over there. This lid doesn't look bad. I don't have a problem with anything like that. We all expect a few dark specks, some odds and ends, but this just layered with that dark stuff on top. No bueno, as they say. Yeah, Bob's out here. That barrel doesn't look bad. This barrel doesn't. Okay, all right. Okay, thanks, Louie.